That sweltering summer day in 1998, Clara was at work when she received the call that would shatter her world. The ringing phone was an ordinary sound, but what came next was anything but. Her mother's trembling voice on the other end delivered the news. Her father was gone. Suddenly, for Clara, just 22, the first reaction was disbelief, a stunned denial. "This must be a mistake," she whispered to herself, the receiver cold against her ear. "Dad's just on his way home from work. This can't be happening." But the sounds of her grandmother's sobs in the background, the raw anguish in her mother's voice, forced the brutal truth in. Her father was gone. The days following the funeral were a blur of anger and overwhelming sadness. Clara found herself asking the same question over and over, a painful echo in her mind. Why? Why did this have to happen to them? As Thanksgiving approached, her mother insisted on hosting the traditional family dinner, just as they always had. To Clara, the idea was unbearable. "Mum, how can we possibly do this?" she pleaded, her voice cracking. "It's just ... It's too hard without Dad." Her mother pulled her into a hug, her own eyes shimmering with tears. "I want to honor his memory, sweetheart. His love and kindness will always live in this house." Reluctantly, Clara agreed to help, her heart heavy with grief. Every decoration she hung, every dish she prepared was a sharp reminder of him. Memories of past Thanksgivings flooded her thoughts. Her dad's silly jokes, his infectious laugh, the warmth of his hugs. During the family dinner, a heavy silence hung in the air until her younger brother, Can, spoke up. He began sharing stories he'd heard about their father's secret acts of kindness in the community, how he'd quietly helped neighbors in need, brought meals to the lonely, and always put others before himself. Hearing these stories shifted something inside Clara. She started to see the day not as a painful reminder of loss, but as a celebration of her father's enduring legacy. As the evening drew to a close, Clara stood up and raised her glass. Her voice, once choked with sorrow, now held a note of newfound strength. "To our father," she said, "he will live on, always, in our hearts." In that moment, she understood honoring his memory wasn't about dwelling on the pain of his absence. It was about keeping his spirit alive. She could turn her grief into a reason to celebrate life. That night, as Clara lay in bed, a small flame of hope flickered to life in her heart. Her father's memory would be her strength, her reason to keep going. In the weeks after, Clara struggled to find her footing. Each morning, she'd wake with a fleeting hope that it had all been a terrible nightmare, only to have the harsh reality crash down on her again. At work, her friends' attempts to comfort her felt hollow. Every shared laugh, every casual joke only amplified the silence her father had left behind. One afternoon, her co-worker Elif approached her desk. "How are you holding up, Clara? Maybe we could go see a movie. Get your mind off things." Clara managed a weak smile. "Thanks, Elif, but I think I just need to be alone for a bit." Elif nodded with understanding. "Of course, but just know I'm here for you." Clara was grateful for the kindness, but the truth was she was avoiding more than just company. She was afraid to truly face the void her father had left. Every memory felt like a fresh wound. As Thanksgiving dinner progressed and her brother Can shared stories of their father's quiet generosity, Clara felt a profound shift. She realized her father was more than just their dad. He was a pillar of his community, and his legacy of kindness was something they could and should carry on. It was a revelation. She could honor him by living as he did. This new perspective was empowering. Her toast that evening wasn't just words, it was a promise. A promise to keep his spirit alive, not just in memory, but in action. That night, she finally felt a sense of peace. The grief was still there, a constant companion, but it was no longer a crushing weight. It was a catalyst. Her father's memory would be her guide. Following this realization, Clara decided to walk in her father's footsteps. She began volunteering, helping people in her community, and offering support to those who were alone. With each act of kindness, she felt the weight of her grief lighten, replaced by a sense of purpose. Her mother and brother, Can, joined her, and together they found a new way to be a family, united in honoring the man they all loved. One day, Clara ran into one of her father's old friends. The man smiled warmly. "Your father was a wonderful man," he said, "and it's clear you're continuing his good work. He would be so proud." His words filled Clara with a deep sense of pride. This was the greatest honor she could pay her father. Life went on, and with every passing day, she kept his memory more vibrant than ever. She made a point to tell his stories, to share his lessons of compassion at family gatherings and with friends. His memory was a living, breathing part of their lives. Clara understood then that his death wasn't an ending. It was a new beginning for her, a call to live a life of purpose, fueled by his love. In the months that followed, Clara felt herself growing stronger, more determined. Volunteering became her therapy, a way to channel her grief into something positive and constructive. Her father's memory had given her a new mission. One afternoon, she visited an elderly woman in her neighborhood who lived alone and had health issues. "Hello," Clara said with a warm smile. "I'm Clara. I'm here to help." The old woman's eyes brightened. "You are so kind," she said softly, "just like your father." Hearing this, Clara's eyes welled with tears. It was another beautiful reminder of the deep respect and love the community had for him. As Clara helped around the house, the woman shared more stories of her father's constant willingness to lend a hand. Clara saw so much of his spirit in her own growing desire to serve. That evening, she shared the story with her family. "Dad would be so proud of you," her mother said, her voice full of love. "You're truly following in his footsteps," Can added. Their support was her bedrock. Life was moving forward, and she was no longer just surviving. She was thriving, powered by her father's legacy. His death had become a beginning, not an end. Then a call came from one of her father's old colleagues. He told her about a charity project her father had started at his workplace and asked if she would consider helping to continue it. Clara accepted without hesitation. It was another chance to keep his memory alive. She threw herself into the project, and her dedication inspired her father's former colleagues. At a company meeting, Clara was asked to say a few words. "My father taught us to always help others," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "We will continue to honor his teaching. His memory will live on in the heart of this workplace." A round of applause filled the room. In that moment, Clara felt her father's spirit shining through her. She was his true heir, not of money or property, but of his incredible capacity for kindness. Years passed. Clara's commitment to serving her community only grew. She eventually established a foundation in her father's name, a formal way to channel his legacy of compassion and help countless people. Every Thanksgiving, she would raise a glass. "My father taught us to help others," she'd say, tears of gratitude in her eyes. His memory will forever live in the heart of this family and this community. She was keeping his spirit alive, and in doing so, she had found her own reason for being. Her grief had been transformed into a beautiful, life-affirming purpose. She was not alone on this path. She was surrounded by family, friends, and a community all touched by her father's spirit. Her father's memory was not a ghost of the past. It was a beacon lighting her way forward. Thank you for watching, and if this story touched you, please consider liking and subscribing for more content that celebrates the human spirit.